Hello, my name is Corni and welcome to my channel. I gave birth 18 months ago, 18 and a half months ago, and it was an amazing experience. I had a very easy, low risk pregnancy. It was my second pregnancy, and it was a very amazing experience that I thought I needed to share with you, since I had a few followers that followed me all throughout my pregnancy, and I never shared the story with you. And so yeah, let's get started. I was told pretty early on. I went for my 36-week checkup with my gynecologist, and he said, oh no, baby's gonna arrive early. Baby's a lot smaller, and he thinks that baby's very active and everything looks, ready to go at about 2 or 3 weeks before my due date. So he was following a different due date to the due date that my midwife was following. She followed my original birth date, which was the end of January 2020. But my gynecologist believed that baby would arrive before the middle of January. So when I heard that news, I immediately got my birth pool that was, I was only scheduled to get that, I think a week or 2 weeks later. I then phoned the lady and I was like, please, can I get the birth pool? My gynae says I'm going to be early. I just don't want to be caught without a birth pool, and this whole picture of my birth going out the window. So, and she said that's fine, she has one available right away. I am more than welcome to come pick it up. Sorry, my eye is itchy. And the next day, literally, I drove, and that was the day that the gynae said I was going to give birth. So I went and I got the birth pool, set it up, and everything was there, and I made sure that I knew how to inflate it. My husband wasn't very keen on the idea, and I wanted to do all the heavy lifting. I didn't want him to kind of do anything, because I knew he wasn't totally on board for this whole home birth experience. So I wanted to lighten the load, and I had time. I was home with my toddler, and we had a bit of help around the house, so I was free to do this. So then the day came and went, and nothing, and another week passed by, and I was so irritated, and I was like, baby, what, aren't you here yet? And I think I did say that in my 38-week update, that I can't believe she's not here yet, and what's going on, and so on. And then 39 weeks came and went, and I had a lot of prodromal labor, which is just practice labor, where it feels like contractions for like an hour or two, and then it would go away, it would subside. Sometimes it'd get really strong, and I actually said, just after I turned 39 weeks, I told my husband, okay, I think this is labor. And I even phoned my mom, because she was scheduled to fly down from Johannesburg to Cape Town. And I said, oh, it might be it. And she was like, should I get on a plane? I'm like, no, let's just wait and see. Let's wait this out. And then, I went to bed, and nothing came of it. Another week, not quite a week, another couple of days went past, and I was feeling a little bit, and one of my husband's friends came to stay over on the weekend, and I told them, I think I'm gonna have this baby this weekend. I was really tight and sore, and lots of Braxton Hicks, lots of them. And then the morning that the friend left, thank goodness, I had my bloody show. I didn't lose my mucus plug with my first baby, so I didn't know what it was. And I was so surprised. And after the friend left, this was a couple of hours later that I discovered that. I told my husband this, and he was like, he didn't really know what to do or what to think, I'm sure. And I said, well, let's just wait it out, let's see. And so the contractions started. This was midday. By late afternoon, they were still going, but like 10, 15 minutes apart. I wasn't too stressed. We even went to Checkers, to our local grocery store, and got some stuff for smoothies and snacks and things. And like I I just loved that experience, like having a contraction in the car and having a contraction, standing waiting in line and swaying, and my toddler with us. It was it's really cool. I really enjoyed it.
Hi there. Okay, so I've been experiencing some contractions, and it is a Sunday afternoon and my husband is home. So we decided to get our birth room ready. So we've put down drop sheets just for any kind of water or mess or anything, just to protect our wooden floors. I've inflated the pool like I showed you earlier this week. So we'll just top it up. It's feeling a little deflated at the moment. And then we've got some fairy lights just to enhance the mood and create a little bit of a special feeling. And we'll light the candles later. And I've got a basket full of goodies there. Like, my midwife asked us to get salt and have enough towels and things, and some linen savers and baby's blanket when she's born and they put her on top of me in the water. Then that's all ready and out there. And we do have some extra space and things for when the midwife comes, and plugs over there. So hopefully this is it. Fingers crossed. I'll keep you all posted.
So we phoned my mom and she said, okay, she's on her way. And she literally booked a flight an hour later. And I went to bed early, since I knew I was going to need my strength. And she arrived after I've been in bed already, and she just came to say goodnight. And if there's anything, I should wake her right away, and so on. So we put out, so Yaku, my husband, put our toddler to bed, and I was in bed already. And then my mom came, and everything was fine. And about 3 o'clock that morning, I woke up because of labor pains and contractions. So I got up and I went downstairs and I bounced on my birthing ball, watching some series on Netflix. I used to be a figure skater, so I watched that figure skating series and I loved it. I can't remember what the name was though. It's like, watched it like a couple of hours, I think like 3 or 4 episodes, just bouncing and timing my contractions. And by 6 o'clock I was so exhausted, and I went back upstairs and just lay down for a bit next to Yaku. I actually went upstairs to go and wake him, to tell him, listen, I think this is really happening. And then while I was laying down, it just felt so good. And then they would subside again, and I was like, well, this doesn't help, if they're coming and going like this, it's probably not real labor. And now my mom's here, and is this gonna happen today or isn't it? And then by 7 o'clock, he was like, my husband said, do you think you're in labor? I'm like, yeah. And then just as soon as I said that, I grabbed his hand for another contraction, and it was very intense and yeah, a bit painful. And I had to really crouch over, on my hands and knees with my bum in the air. That felt the best. And I was like, okay. And he suggested that we call my dream team, my midwife and my doula. So I messaged both of them. I did let them know the night before that I am in early labor, and that I would let them know anything. So they were on standby the whole night, poor women. And so then I only let them know at 7 o'clock. And then my midwife said, okay, fine, she'll be there at 9. She was a bit further away than we planned originally and thought that she would be. And then my doula also said, okay, she's just dropping off the kids at school, and then she's coming right over. That'll also be about 9 o'clock. So for the next 2 hours, we had breakfast. My mom settled in. Our nanny came, and it's like, yeah, having surges and contractions, all throughout every every 5 minutes or every 4 minutes, and even more so when I was active. So my husband said to chill, like don't bounce on your ball, let's just wait for the team to arrive. And but they weren't going away, so I knew this was it. My baby was going to be born actually 2 days before her due date, and exactly so I was exactly 39 weeks and 5 days, and I was 39 weeks 5 days with my first. It's incredible. So my due dates were so spot on, and which is kind of cool because they normally aren't. But I was happy that she was arriving earlier. I don't know what I would have done if I'd gone over time or past my due date. I think it must be a really tough waiting game. And then I sent my mom, nanny, and my toddler off to Clamber Club for her to be entertained. I didn't want her to be around the whole time, and because she was only 18 months and she didn't really understand what was going on, and I would just say Aina, and then she'd be like, oh, mommy's in pain, mommy's Aina. And I didn't want her to be around too much. So, and my mom was really upset that she thought that she was gonna miss it. And then as my mom and them left, my dream team arrived, and literally, I think my husband opened for them downstairs, and he went to go show them where to park their cars, since we were in an apartment building and there wasn't a lot of visitors parking. So we organized parking for them weeks in advance to make sure that they'd have a place to park their car. And I just get so excited talking about this because it really was. I wish I filmed more. I will definitely show you some clips, the clips that I have. But it was just amazing. These two women arrived with the bags of goodies, an oxygen tank, and they were just like, you don't look like you're in labor. And they just went upstairs, they made themselves at home, set up. My midwife immediately popped a beanbag in the microwave. He did it up for me. And I was walking up the stairs and contracting and so on, and then my doula would squeeze my hips, and then my midwife would, and that beanbag on my back was so amazing. And then they brought my birth ball upstairs, and my doula started filling the pool with my husband, and it was just, I tell you that it was an amazing experience, and it was just so calm. It felt so amazing that I could just be in my own space to give birth. And I didn't have to rush anywhere. I didn't have to submit myself to medical procedures or anything like that. My midwife then just asked me if she could check my dilation, and I said of course, and I was already 5 centimeters dilated by 9 o'clock in the morning, which felt really amazing that I've done all that work, and I didn't I was tired, but it wasn't a big deal. It was just labor, it's just birth, and then so about 40 minutes later or an hour later, they said, well, you can hop in the birth pool, so otherwise you're gonna have the baby dry. I was like, no, we got the birth pool, so let me get in. And so I was feeling a bit shy, and taking off my my pants. But anyway, got in. I wore my bikini top, as you'll see. Wore my bikini top, and I got in the water, and it was so amazing. It felt so calming and so soothing. It truly was. My husband was busy with a bunch of things, and making coffee, and we were joking around, and literally it was just so much fun and so calm. And then about 30 minutes later, the birth photographer arrived, and she actually gave me that clip, that video that I did post on my channel a while ago. I think it was about a month or two after the birth, of all the images, and they were just absolutely gorgeous. So then she arrived, because we kept calling her because my midwife said this baby was going to arrive any minute and she was going to miss the birth. But at that time we didn't time my contractions. We listened to the fetal heart rate maybe 2 or 3 times. It was very relaxing, and my midwife, you know, asked me to change positions a few times. If she saw that the contractions were slowing down, then she asked me to change position, and every time I changed position I would feel baby move lower down. And it was not long. I think baby was born at 11:30, so I had 2.5 hours of active labor until baby was born. So I changed my final position, and she said try squatting, and I did, in the water, like with my arms on top of the birth pool and then with my knees up high squatting. And I said no, it's too much, it's too much. So I went down on one knee and just kept one leg up, if you understand what I mean. And then yeah, I could just feel baby move down even more, and it became really intense. And then my water bag broke all by itself, and then my midwife started applying I think they call it perineal pressure. Oh, it felt so good. I never thought, you know, like a touch would be so satisfying. I feel it's probably really strange to say, but she did take her hand away at one point, and I was like, no, you know, put it back. You know, I just feel it felt so good amongst all of this going on. So about 6 to 8 minutes later, I got the urge to push, and I knew not to push because I really didn't want to tear. I didn't want to push. So my midwife even said, push, push, push. And I was resisting it, and I wanted to get up. And she's like, you have to either go in the water or stand up. We can't have this baby halfway. And I remember thinking, oh, is that what I'm doing? Like I didn't feel like I was in control that much. And by that time, my husband was in behind me in the pool, and he was holding me from the back saying, you can do it. Because at that point I just wanted to give up transition. And it was a very intense, let's say 10 minutes, 8 minutes until baby was born, and I literally breathed her out. I didn't feel the ring of fire. I don't know how many pushes it was, but from the water bag breaking, I could feel her just moving down and down and down and down. And then I got the urge to push, and she was out. My midwife called her, and she put her on my chest. And it was just the most beautiful and satisfying and wonderful experience. And we just sat there, you know, my husband, you know, just cradling both of us. Oh, and it was, I wanted to say, like, my mom did make it. she did come back, I think about a half an hour or so before the birth. even 20 minutes before baby coming out, I was still laughing and having a really good time and some fantastic conversations. And then baby and I could just be in the pool for a bit. And, just marvel at her awesomeness. And at that time, she didn't seem that big to me because the gynae said she's going to be much smaller than my previous baby. And so I was expecting a small baby, so I didn't really measure her as I, held her. And then my midwife said, okay, time to get out the pool. She didn't want me to birth the placenta in the pool. So I got up with some help and baby went onto dad's chest. And I went to go lie down on my bed with some linen savers. And, birthed the placenta. And I asked her, should I push? And she was like, if you feel like it. The placenta just came away naturally. She didn't have to pull or tug or anything. She inspected it. It looked amazing. I wish I took a photo of it. I sadly didn't, but it's definitely a memory that I won't forget. So, and then I had a tiny tear that she just had to, I think, 2 stitches. And that was not nearly as painful as it was the first time. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't left alone. My baby was close by, and then quickly they put baby back on my chest and we started breastfeeding. Now, she was a very lazy breastfeeder, and she was definitely not a boob baby, which I think I've said, because she would just suck the little nipple in. She wouldn't take the whole areola in. And that was, so from the get-go, it was a bit of a struggle to get her to breastfeed. But we were in our happy place and I could just stay in bed as long as I wanted. As soon as she fell asleep, they helped me to shower and just get cleaned up. And we didn't bath baby. Baby was covered in vernix and she was lovely and creamy. It was amazing, and I just wanted her to stay like that for days and days and days. I wanted this experience to be different, and it was. It was completely healing, and it was completely wonderful. And I wish women would look at birth as part of a life experience, and an experience that should, empower you and not take your power away. I felt like my power was taken away again and again with my first, with Celine. And I look at her and I feel so sorry that she endured so much trauma in the first hour or 2 hours after birth, where Rachel Adeline was born completely peacefully and in such a wanted, loving environment, which I didn't felt in Qatar. And I'm not saying that that's for everyone. So I'm a big advocate for home birth, and it actually spurred on a new passion, if I can say it that way. I think it was always there. Since I fell pregnant, I've been fascinated with birth, and I didn't fear it. Not with Celine. I didn't fear giving birth before giving birth. I feared giving birth after giving birth, because I knew that wasn't right. That wasn't the way that women were supposed to give birth. And so that was like a huge thing for me. And I'm very, very grateful that my husband allowed me to, well, not allowed me, just supported me in giving birth the way I wanted to give birth, at home, in our comfort zone, in a beautiful pool. It was absolutely amazing, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I would do it again and again. I would happily give birth again and again and again, because I really truly marveled in it. It wasn't that comfortable always. It was painful. It was intense and strong, but I am so grateful that I am a woman and that I gave birth the way I did. Naturally, in every sense of the word. There was nothing medical about it. So I'm very proud. And yeah, I just want to thank you for listening. And if you did like this, please give it a thumbs up and share it. Share it with everyone. Birth is empowering, birth is beautiful, birth is sacred, and there's nothing to fear about birth. The pain comes second, I promise you. And it's not about the pain. It's intense, it's gratifying even. So go and give birth the way nature intended you to. Thanks for listening.